Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Agents to Owners podcast. Today we have the one, the only founder of Advisor Evolved and local traffic marketing, Mr. Chris Langille. Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It's great to be on. I see your little blurbs on social and followed some of your videos, man. So it's cool to be a part of this, man. I love what you're doing.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm looking forward to chopping it up with you. I've always enjoyed our other conversations and working with you in the past. So I'm looking forward to learning what's new in the world of websites and SEO and anything else that we get into. So why don't you? I think we'll kind of skip some of the backstory. Most people in the industry know who Chris is. If you want to hear his full resume, tell you what, go to episode 16 of the Scratch Agency podcast. Chris leaves a detailed work history, everything from the insurance industry to his exploits as a barber to everything in between. It's actually really interesting. You should check out that episode. But so why don't you just kind of tell us everything that Advisor Evolved is, because it's more than just a website company.
Yeah, man. So we're a digital marketing agency. We're not just a website developer. Like I think sometimes people in the industry kind of pigeonhole us into that category. There's a lot more to it than that. We're building custom API level integrations with different industry partners, CRMs, and other products, carriers even. Built one with Cover Whale for commercial trucking. There's a lot of stuff that we do outside of just designing and laying out a website. Running full funnel digital marketing campaigns. Google Analytics, Looker Studio. Advanced analytics, retargeting campaigns, Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads. There's a lot that goes into digital marketing that has nothing to do with your website. And I think a lot of times people think that the website is the end all be all, but that's one component of the overall machine or the overall marketing system for a business. So we like to think that we simplify things for people. The left hand needs to know what the right hand is doing. I think a lot of agencies that they have a website provider and then they go out and try to bring on a third party digital marketing vendor. And it's like, there's a clash in the middle of, getting proper access to the site and being able to do certain things and whatnot. So we eliminate that issue where, you have one point of contact, one team for, everything from A to Z. I mean, there's nothing that we can't do. We don't do like direct mail or anything like that, but from a digital perspective, we've been doing this for 10 plus years and worked with hundreds, if not thousands of different agencies. So it's like I said, one point of contact. It's almost like an independent insurance agency, right? Like, you can offer a lot of different products. There's no need to have an insurance agent for your homeowners and then a different one for your auto and a different one for your umbrella. Like, you want to have everything under one umbrella, under one roof, so to speak. And that's kind of what we bring to the table. Among other things, there's a couple other cool things we're working on. I think I know we'll probably talk about that at some point, but so we like to simplify the digital footprint for each agency. It's one thing that they struggle with a lot is they don't know how to vet third-party vendors because a lot of them don't know what questions to ask because they don't know what they don't know about it. We like to simplify that to just make life easier for the agent. These are people that they don't have the time to really do all this themselves. They don't have the team in-house to do it. They need a trusted vendor, somebody that knows what they're doing, knows their industry. It's not going to BS them. That's one thing that, I think people that know me know that I sometimes don't have a filter, and it's really out of love. Like, I'd rather just tell you honestly, even if sometimes it's blunt. I'd rather do that than, BS people. But
yeah, well, what you're talking about, let's just expand on that, since that was just something we were touching on off air, which is something that is something is fairly new to you guys. So let's talk about this project that you're working on. Or is it out yet, or is it available to to the agency force? This consulting venture that you're getting into.
Yeah, so not out yet. Still sort of in bubble wrap at the moment. We're putting some different components together, building out the brand, building out the website, building out the internal infrastructure. But the big issue that we've seen over the last 4, 5, 6 years is agencies, again, hiring third-party vendors that at the end of the day, specifically digital marketing, marketing companies, right, to come in and handle the agency's marketing, or bringing in an in-house marketer. So like a lot of agencies are trying to hire their own, employee, their own in-house person. And typically this is, a younger person that may or may not really be that experienced yet. And they're really trying to handle some lower level activities within the agency, right? Handle the social media, maybe send out newsletters, lower level stuff that, may or may not even work anymore, but stuff that the agency really still wants to do just to kind of have some general activity. The issue that we've seen is that a lot of these folks that are being hired in the agency, they don't know much more than the agency owner knows about marketing. Their title is marketing director or, marketing whoever, right? But they don't know really the difference between a Facebook pixel and a landing page, right? Like they're newer, they don't have the experience yet. They like know enough to be dangerous, but there's still a huge gap in their knowledge, and that's an issue, right? Because if an agency brings on that person, and even a part-time marketing person is going to be, especially in today's economy with inflation and whatnot, like you're going to spend for a part-time person maybe 35, 40 grand a year. A real deal performance marketer is going to be 6 figures to have, somebody that's handling everything from top to bottom. And that's really what the goal of our program is. I don't want to divulge the actual brand name yet. But it's a consulting service or consulting group where we train the in-house marketers, shorten their learning curve and really give them a high level knowledge of everything. I mean, everything, how to correctly blog, how to build out a Google Ads campaign, how to design social media artwork in Canva or Adobe products, right? How to use Adobe products, how to chop up video for social media. It's literally going to be, A to Z, and it's going to be a certificate program. So it's something that in-house marketer will have to hit certain goals. There's going to be some accountability there with one-on-one meetings and whatnot. But it's really to train up these individuals so that they can really actually move the dial for the agency instead of just doing a blog each month or sending out a newsletter that people may or may not even be reading anymore. I mean, I don't know who reads a ton of newsletters. I mean, I'm sure a lot of agencies are still doing it, but it's no slight to newsletters or anybody doing it. But, we're talking about stuff that in 2024 and beyond, really does move the dial and not just kind of like busy work in the agency, if that makes sense. So we're really excited. I mean, I think we already have 4 or 5 people that are like ready to roll as soon as it is fully developed, but it's going to be, I think, very beneficial for all involved.
Well, there's a huge need for it. I mean, in our space, just like anything else, this is something we should be outsourcing.
Yep.
And it's the way it sounds is it's a total package of it, but you're not. This isn't a setup where Chris and his team are going to take care of these things. You want somebody inside the agency itself,
correct,
to be doing this work. You're just working for them. Something else that you brought up earlier while we were talking was just to help vet maybe other marketing agencies. And I thought that was a really, really good point, because everybody promises the moon, right? With all what you get. And I don't know the difference. I don't know what the difference is between this guy and that. And so to have somebody that knows, digital marketing, that knows Google Ads, that understands SEO well on your team, to go in there and maybe vet this person to see if it's worthwhile or not, is huge. In fact, that could be a consulting business all in itself. Just drug me on this appointment and say, is this worthwhile?
Exactly.
Is this worth my 10 grand?
Exactly. How to vet other service providers, how to vet other vendors. I mean, in the marketing space, it's very much like insurance, right? You have thousands of marketers and marketing agencies, and they're all saying the same thing, right? We can rank you higher, we can get you more leads, right? It's the same thing as an agency saying, we're local, we're independent, we can lower your rates, right? You have this army of people that are saying the same, have the same elevator pitch. So it's difficult for the business owner to tell them apart because they're all claiming the same thing. And it takes, you'll know when you talk to some agency owners, right? Because they're very calloused on marketers because
Yeah.
they've been burnt 12,
Right.
15 times, right?
Right.
Because they hire somebody, they don't deliver, they fire, they move on to the next. That person was the same as the other guy.
Yeah.
They fire, move on to the next, fire, move on, right? They're chasing this thing because they believe what these people are telling them, and then it doesn't come true. And it's just this big cycle of like wasted time, wasted resources, wasted money, which could be really avoided if you just talk to the right person. And I think
Yeah.
I've said this to a couple of people before. The mark of a good digital marketing agency is somebody who turns you down because you either, you don't have the budget, you don't have the sales ability, like, somebody that's just willing to take your money and promise you everything, like that's kind of a red flag in my mind. Like we turn down probably more agencies that we take on because of a lot of reasons, right? They
Yeah.
don't have a dedicated salesperson. They don't have automation to help with follow up. They're not really utilizing a CRM. Like they don't have that back end machine that they need to actually close sales when the leads come in. They're not ready for that yet. So it's like consulting them on how to build that up first, and then now you're ready to take on new opportunities. So yeah, it's hopefully, looking forward to it just because, it's going to simplify things for agencies, and also it'll simplify stuff for me. I'm not going to lie. Like we built this selfishly out of our own pain with some of our clients hiring some of these people. And then
Yeah.
we get into the, not a tussle, but we're just like, look, like you're in a contract now for a year. It's going to cost you $36,000. And these people are posting a blog article to your site each month that's not even getting indexed by Google. Like, why did you sign up for this? And sometimes people, again, they just don't know what they don't
Yeah.
know. And
Yep.
it's trying to protect our clients, but also obviously trying to protect ourselves in some ways from, you know, um, other marketing agencies that are trying to drive a wedge. I mean, the stuff that we see, and we have people that have emailed our clients with like smear campaigns against us. Like, I think you may have, somebody in the
I
group
have.
is like,
Yeah.
alerted me to it. And it's like, then you have to hire lawyers, and like, it kind of a marketing is kind of it can be a sleazy space, and it's tough to find honest, ethical people that actually do know what the hell they're doing. So
Yeah.
we're trying to be that needle in the haystack, so to speak.
Yeah. What else? What else? And anything else new with AE? Anything you're working on?
Yeah. So one of the other things that's come up the last couple of months is we've been getting some one-off referrals from loan officers. So um, we've been thinking a lot about this, over the last year or so, expanding into different verticals that align with insurance, other like white collar industries, right? Accounting, real estate, lenders, financial advisors. These are all people that kind of, coexist in the same ecosystem as insurance. And we've gotten some good, have some good conversations, and we think that, probably going to end up at least experimenting in that vertical, in the lending space. Just, it aligns with insurance, and we're hoping that, when it's fully rolled out, it'll be a win-win for our insurance agency clients too, just from a referral perspective. I mean, um, it's something that we're pretty excited about. It's still in the early stages now, but we've also had a lot of our existing clients come to us. I mean, it happens on a monthly basis where, we built their insurance agency website, but like their uncle is like a landscaper and he needs a website.
Yeah.
We actually just got a client the other day that they have a friend or a relative or somebody that has a marina that stores like yachts, and they need a website for that. And they're like, would you be interested in this? And it's like, so that kind of stuff is coming across our desk. We want to obviously be smart about it, because we truly believe in niching down, especially with what we do. I mean, building a website is like building a house. There's a lot of work that goes in planning, and it's not easy to undo it if the client changes their mind or, wants to do other stuff to it. So you got to be careful when you take on projects. We think this will be a good fit.
What's unique about, Chris, an advisor Evolve, is, and I asked him to, kind of skip over his backstory, but for those that don't know, Chris has an extensive, he was in the insurance business for a number of years.
Yep.
So it was a natural fit. So he understands the insurance business. So when he builds a site and is making it optimizable to find, he knows the language. So is that something like, if that you'd have to do more research in for, say, to be in the lender space?
Yeah, absolutely. We've already done a lot. In fact, reverse engineered some pretty big, what we would call competitors, and just other like big lenders, right? To see how they're structuring their content, their website, like what their backlink profile looks like, domain strength, that kind of thing, just to see what the overall traffic is. Anytime you go into a niche or a vertical, that's the one thing you want to look at, is like, what does the search volume truly look like, right? Like ranking number one for something that nobody searches for isn't going to help you at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we want to take on clients that have, volume to where it's worthwhile to do all this work and have, search campaigns and SEO and display ads and all the other stuff, right? But it's like the research part of it, for sure. I mean, we thankfully know some really good people on that side of the business, some close friends. I mean, loan officers are all over the place too, right? It's almost like insurance. Like they're on every corner,
Yeah.
So, and that's another challenge, right? I mean, it's a competitive niche.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit like insurance, where, you have some bigger shops that really have invested in technology and marketing, and they're really trying to push the envelope. And then you have a big percentage of them that are, they're still, based on paper and file cabinets, and haven't taken that step yet. So there's a big room for improvement there, which we're hoping to really help people with. So.
Yeah. You touched on SEO. So that's, something I think most of our audience is curious about, including myself. How do we position ourselves to rank as high as we can, and to be found as many times as we can? Yeah.
So we could be on here for like a couple hours. I'll try to summarize. And just blurt some stuff out.
Yeah.
In 2024, when the Google business profile, which doesn't have anything to do with your website, that is the first touch, or the first experience people are probably going to have when they're looking for, like, local search, right? Insurance agency near me, insurance broker, auto insurance, right? Google's going to show the map pack first. Like, there's going to be ads, and then there's going to be the map pack, and then there's going to be the organic results underneath. And before the map pack was there, and Google basically invented it to eliminate Yelp from search results. A lot of people don't know that, but when's the last time you saw Yelp in a search result? Google came out with Google Business Profile to basically, they're like, why are people going to Yelp for these reviews? They should be staying on our platform. Right. Anyway, the ads in the Google Business Profile, they absorb a majority of the clicks in a local search. The organic results are getting fewer and fewer clicks. A lot of people don't realize that, and maybe they don't want to hear that, but it's true. Google's trying to keep you on their platform. The longer you're on their platform, the more likely you are to click an ad, which is how Google survives. Yeah. So ranking higher, it's obviously keywords are a big part of Google. Google is a machine. It's based on keywords and, content. But obviously with the Google Business Profile, people might interact with you. They might call you, or you might get a lead from Google without that person ever even seeing your website because they're interacting with the Google business profile. Another thing too is a lot of people now are using Google Maps as their primary search engine. They're not actually using Google for local searches. And I do this myself, right? If I'm looking for a sushi restaurant, I'm not going to Google. I'm going to Google Maps because I want to see the little red pings. I want to see the where these are physically located to me. And so that's exactly kind of how Google treats an insurance agency. It's almost like a pizza shop, right? And insurance agents, they want to believe that they have this big online presence and this big footprint. And the reality is, like, Google sees you as a brick and mortar business. So you really actually have a much smaller footprint than you think you do, unfortunately. And that's why, digital marketing and proactive activity is so critical, because if you just throw a website up, and do nothing with it, you're not going to see the results that you would if you're, being more proactive. But I could get very technical with this answer, but I mean, on page optimizations, keywords, how your site's structured, page speed. A lot of people think, blogging is the answer to SEO and ranking higher. Blogging is definitely a best practice. It can also hurt your site because you could actually end up creating a lot of duplicate content on your site. You have to be careful. You have to be very intentional about creating content. Have I already created content around this keyword grouping on my site already? Because if so, if I go out and create 20 blog articles about car insurance, Google, Google may not know which one is the priority. They might rank actually the weaker page. So SEO is a very difficult monster. It changes all the time. Now you have AI overlays appearing in search. If people don't know what that is, it's basically like they're calling it an AI overlay. It's kind of like a little summary that pops up depending on what you're searching for. It doesn't impact local search queries. So it's not, if you search for like insurance agent near me, you're not going to see the overlay. You're not going to see the overlay for a local search, but it's an experimental thing. Google's pushed it out, pulled it back. Google's always experimenting with things. That's part of why their algorithm changes a million times a year, is they're trying things and testing things. And at the end of the day, really, SEO is it's the same now as it was 10 years ago, and that organic results really depend mostly on backlinks. In fact, there was actually a big, I don't know if you saw this, there was a big leak with, Google ranking algorithm, Yeah, if you just Google, literally go to Google and type in Google SEO leak. There was a big leak reported, and a lot of people, kind of dug through the results and dug through it. And it's like, Google comes out all the time and says, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. And like at the end of the day, it's like the same 5 things that really impact rankings. And it's the same as they were 10 years ago. There's really bad websites that are ranking high because the domain is very old and they have a lot of backlinks because the domain is old. So websites and domains are kind of like a bottle of wine. The older it is, the better it's perceived to be by Google, even though it might not be that good, but it's old. And that really can help you rank higher than a lot of other businesses.
Explain to us what a backlink.
Yeah, backlink is basically when one website hyperlinks over to your website. That really is kind of like a referral, a digital referral in the eyes of Google, right? They see other websites linking over to you, and that, in their opinion, means that there must be something important on this guy's website, because there's all these other websites linking over to them and passing the juice over to the website. So all things being equal, the website that has more backlinks is going to rank higher. And the website that has more brand searches is going to rank higher. What I mean by a brand search is like the brand name. So like Allstate, State Farm, Geico, Progressive, they get a lot of brand traffic. In fact, we looked at the keyword volume and keyword analytics, and there's a lot of people that, instead of typing in like best auto insurance rate, they're typing in Geico auto rates.
Yep.
They're actually using the carrier's name in the search query, which when you do that, they're definitely going to be they're looking for Geico. They're going to go to the Geico site. And that's taking traffic away from independent agents. And so there's a lot of that going on behind the scenes. A lot of people are not, they're not aware of that, but backlinks still to this day are the most critical thing for organic results. For the local algorithm, it's the Google Business Profile. You have to really treat the Google Business Profile like a website. You got to post content to it. You got to
So I was
make
just
sure
going
you're
to ask, what are the best practices of Google Business
you got to
Profile?
make sure you have the right business category, the right subcategories. You got to make sure you have the right service areas, the right services. You got to make sure that you're getting Google reviews and replying back to them. There's a way to add an update, which is almost like a micro blog post. And so really Google is looking at which businesses are the most active with their profile, right? And they reward the businesses that are proactive with their Google Business Profile. And anybody listening to the podcast, if you have Google Maps and you're the agency owner and you're the main person that has control over your listing, you manage it through the Google Maps app. So you would open up the Google Maps app on your phone, and bottom right, you would see a business icon. You won't be able to see it on my phone, but that's what allows you to control your business listing from mobile. So you can go in and you can post little updates, photos, really whatever. I mean, you should try to do this, once a week if you can. Post a little update to your profile. Again, that sends signals to Google. So when people do search locally for insurance, you're going to show up above the other local business. And you probably know this, right? You look at some of the other agencies maybe in your area, and some of them have like 3 or 4 reviews. Like they don't know yet about the Google Business Profile. They're like sleeping bears, right? So the Google Business Profile is, it's as important, if not more, than your website. Actually, the way that Google now has localized search based on the location of the person searching. So, and not to kind of blabber on and on about it, but I think it's an important thing to bring up. A lot of agencies think like, we want to rank for like Texas car insurance. Like we're trying to rank, number 1 for that, or Texas homeowners insurance, or Texas cyber liability insurance. Those are very competitive keywords that the big brand carriers are probably always going to outrank you for. I hate to say it. It's just the truth. They're more authoritative domains. They have a lot more backlinks. Like focus on local. If you're an agent, right? You have that, 20-mile radius around you. Just dominate your 20-mile radius. Don't try to, rank for everything in the entire state. You can try. I don't want to discourage you. You can try. It's just understand that it's an uphill battle that will take a lot of time and money, and it may not even work, right? So some people think like I'm down on SEO, and I'm not. I just know that I've been doing it for long enough, and I've tried everything, and it's very hard. So you have to think about other ways to get people to your site, to use your site. That's why we build our product the way that we do, with like quote vids and all the other stuff. But SEO is always going to be changing, but at the same time, it stays the same. And with the stuff that behind the scenes really truly matters, backlinks and the Google Business Profile.
What do you think is a good for the business profile update? What do you think is good frequency? Is at least once a week? Is 3 times too many?
I don't think there's too many. I mean, obviously you don't want to look spammy. You don't want to be doing it every couple hours, but the reality is most business owners aren't posting any updates. So if you just do a little bit more than the next guy, it's going to help you out. I would say if you can, at the bare minimum, once a month. If you have the ability to do it, once a week, even better. And look, these don't have to be like very fancy updates. You could literally take a photo of whatever you want, a restaurant that's local, and just say, hey, we just ate lunch here. It was awesome. If you live around this area, check it out. It doesn't necessarily even have to be insurance related. So
that's a good angle. For people like me, so I've had the Advisor Evolve website for I don't know, we'll call it 5 years. Should we be doing anything after a while to keep it optimized ourselves? Should we be making updates, changes? Anything we should do?
Yeah, it's a good question. So what I would say is this: if what people were searching for drastically were to change, right, then it would be important to align the content on your site with that. So like, in other words, if one day people we woke up and they renamed an automobile, some other word instead of a car, and now all of a sudden people were using that with insurance. When the keywords that people type into Google change for the product you're selling, then you definitely want to make sure that you're aligning your website and the content on your website with that. The reality is it doesn't change that much, right? So people are still typing in insurance agency near me, auto insurance rates, cheap car insurance, best homeowners insurance, right? These are keywords that are already on the site in most cases. So from a content and keyword perspective, honestly, you don't have to go in and tweak and change things all the time. It is, like I said, it is a best practice to create helpful content for the site when you can. But I would say this too: we've seen websites that never have blogged a day in their life, but they have backlinks and they are outranking other websites that have a million blog articles on them. So Google will tell you that you absolutely need to have all this content. You need to blog each week and twice a week, et cetera. In reality, that's not always true. So I would say this, right? What can you do to get more from your site? And I've said this on a couple of other podcasts, but like, don't wait for people to find your website. Be proactive. Go and do some digital door knocking. Just paste your quote page URL. Go to your website, go to the quote page, copy the URL from the browser, go to Facebook, paste it on Facebook, and literally say, "Hey, it's Brad. We just quoted this guy and we saved him like $800. If you want me to do the same thing," like, I don't think agencies promote themselves nearly enough as they should. I mean, you're a salesperson. You need to be salesy sometimes, right? There's a right and wrong way to do it, but like, paste that link to Facebook once a month or twice a month and get friends and family to I mean, that's the point of social media for insurance, right? You're not there to like, you're there to obviously talk to your friends and stuff like that, but like, you want to leverage the platform, share your site, create case studies. There's other ways to get leads and people to your site outside of Google search traffic, if that makes sense.
How much do you think if we're using Google Ads, I mean, how much does that overall just help your ranking?
It's huge, man. I'm a big fan of paid traffic. And the reason why is because, like, we go back to what I talked about with creating content, right? A lot of people say, I don't want to have to pay for ads and cost per click. Well, guess what? You're paying for SEO. You're paying for content. SEO is not free. To hire an SEO person or to hire a copywriter, you're paying for that. But that might take a couple of years, especially in a very competitive niche where you have these big brand carriers that are, going to probably always outrank you for competitive keywords. But let's focus on the local search traffic and pay a little bit of money there so that we can just go above the people who are trying to do it through SEO. I mean, Google Ads is really, it's SEO, it's paid SEO. It's the same objective, right? You're trying to be in the highest position you can be in Google search. And people, the reality is, especially on a mobile device, you got to scroll pretty far to get to the organic results now, right? So even if your website's ranking number 1 in your local market, the chances of somebody scrolling down, clicking, and buying through your website, it's still a lot of things have to happen for that to happen, right? There's a lot of the competitors in your market. People are going to click through to their profiles, maybe their websites first, to evaluate the different options, right? But paid traffic in Google Ads is great because you can get immediate traffic. You can have your ad show up in other locations outside of your natural market boundary. Like I said, Google is going to show local results based on the location. And I use this example a lot. If I'm in Miami and I'm trying to, get customers from Jacksonville, I can't do that through SEO, right? Even if I have a page on my website that says Jacksonville Insurance Agency, if somebody searches for that exact keyword, Google's still going to show the local results first. So your website's probably never going to show, even though you have that location page on your website. But if you run an ad, you can run an ad in Jacksonville. So if somebody types in that keyword, now they're seeing you in the search result. So it allows you to cast a bigger net. It allows you to bid on very granular keywords. If you're trying to write specific lines of business and you don't want general traffic, you just want traffic for this one line of business, Google Ads can help you do that. So I'm a big fan. Obviously there's a cost associated to, running campaigns and having someone do them for you. But we're a big believer in that, because my belief is you're going to pay one way or the other.
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to pay with your time and your money and wait, or do you want to just pay with your money and have quicker results with PPC? And I think every agency would say, Chris, I could be dead tomorrow. I want the leads now. I don't, I know SEO can help me ongoing, but I don't want to wait a year or two for this page to rank and get leads. I want to get the business now. So it's just, depends on how you think about it. Right.
Yeah. Talk a little bit about, I think you just covered some of it, but talk about, so you also created local traffic marketing.
Yep.
Which so many of us have been a part of. Talk about your strategy there, because something I found and what you taught me, you touched on earlier about the map pack.
Yep.
And the smart search, which will get you on top of the map pack. So for those that don't know, when you search a business, you search whatever local restaurant, the top 3 in that area will show up, in that search. It's right below the map. So the smart search is paying to be on top of that.
Yeah, you can be in the map pack twice. So you could have an ad and you could have your organic map pack listing as well. So it gives you, and the map pack, by the way, for people listening, that's getting 40, 50, 60% of the click through in a local search, sometimes higher, depending on the product. That's where a majority of the clicks are going. They're not necessarily going to the organic blue links underneath as much as they used to. So local traffic marketing is focused on that lower hanging fruit. What are people clicking on in a search query? Well, we know that people click ads. That's a fact. They're at the top. People sometimes don't know they're an ad, don't care that it's an ad, but it's solving their problem quicker, immediately, without them having to scroll and dig around. Yep. And they're clicking the map pack results for local search queries. So that's where we focus with local traffic marketing. There's 2 different ways of thinking, right? There's a lot of marketing agencies that are SEO only. And that's what they want to focus solely on, creating all these pages and creating blogs and doing all this stuff. Well, what's going to get you quicker results? Is it that, or is it being present where people are clicking? And that's the concept of local traffic marketing. And look, we're not talking any smack on SEO. That's part of what we do. Yeah. We can do that with the best of them. But when we're working with a client who has a limited budget and wants quick results, SEO is not always the best option for that, believe it or not. Some people might be like, what are you talking about? I can't believe you said that. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've seen it all and done it all, and I've tried everything. And I can tell you that it's true. Like there's other ways to get traffic. And again, you're going to pay one way or the other. Do you want to wait for it, or do you want it quicker?
Google Ads seems to be, it's either people love it or they hate it, right? It seems like, and there's a lot of, you get crap off of there or whatever. Well, it's true. You do get some crap.
Yep.
But I'll tell you what, in this hard market that we've been in, I've gotten more leads off of my ads because everybody's shopping. I mean, I'm talking about good household leads, specifically to the smart search. Now I probably write more business off my smart search ad than I do my
search campaigns.
Search ad. Yeah. And part of that is I think it's easy, and maybe I don't know if it's because people are lazy. You're come up first, insurance guy. Let me click on it. We get our fair share of saying
it's shown in the map pack. That's part of the reason the map pack gets a lot of clicks.
Exactly. And everything that we search for is for home insurance. So we get a lot of car insurance stuff, and we get a lot of non-standard, which we set up an automation that just says, so we don't deal with that. We just have an automation set up that says, I'm sorry, we don't handle that. but we get so much good business off of those ads
Yep.
that because we're first, and it's easy. So yeah, you got to sort through some stuff, but that's with every marketer. That's
everything.
with buying internet leads.
Yeah, you're gonna
No
get
matter what it is.
you're gonna get badly. It's just, it's funny. People complain about that sometimes, and it's like, dude, if we had any control over the quality of the lead, like you wouldn't even know me, man. I'd be on an island right now. You would have never heard my name.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of it. This person, they only want a car insurance quote. Well, all right. If you don't want to do that, refer it out or take a cut. But that's digital market. That's any kind of business. I mean, it's the same thing with your physical location, right? You can't control the person that walks through your door. You just can't. It's tough to do that.
So let's talk about some if those are using ads. A lot of what I hear and see is that maybe they don't have a good process for getting these leads. And talk about some best practices for not just the ads itself, but then when you get that lead, what are some best practices for handling and working that lead?
Yeah, it's a great question. And really, if you're not a sales focused agency, you're not confident in your sales process or your salespeople, I would not recommend spending money on marketing, right? Because it's like putting water in a boat that has a hole in it. You might get leads, but there are a lot of them going to fall through the cracks. So I think focusing on the sales process is critical because the reality is these are not warm referrals, right? Yeah. These are not people that know you yet. It's a cold search, and cold traffic is different from warm traffic and warm referrals, right? It requires more follow-up.
Trust.
It requires, someone who's good on the phone. And I think, to answer the question more directly is like the best thing you can do to close any kind of internet lead or website lead is get on the phone with that person as quick as possible, right? Like I see agencies all the time that try to over automate their follow-up, right? They got this long sequence that's got conditional logic in it. The follow-up sequence should be relatively quick, and you should try to call them right away within a couple minutes. And if they don't pick up, call them an hour later. If they don't pick up, call them there's some work involved to do it, but if you do it the right way, it can be very profitable. And we do have some agencies that are set up right, and it's like print money. Let's say they spend $2,000 a month in ads. Okay, well, your lifetime customer value for one customer is maybe over $2,000. So if you get one customer in a month, you're breaking even on that ad spend. And then, we have people that are getting, 8, 9, 10 customers a month. So the ROI is crazy. It's just, you got to be set up correctly on the back end. And a lot of agencies that we talked to, I told you at the beginning, we turned down quite a few people, and there's some qualifying questions that we ask. If somebody calls your agency for a quote, are they hitting a phone tree, or is there a human being answering the phone? If they're hitting a phone tree, you're going to lose that lead. That's just the reality of it. So there's a lot of things that go into successfully closing leads, but definitely you have to make sure that you have that machine. You have to be using some type of automation that sends out a text message within 20 seconds of that person filling out the form, and you got to have a human being that tries to call them, within 5 minutes. I know. And that's, some agencies will say, we don't have time. We're not just sitting around waiting for, to call people back. But if that's the case, then you're not a sales organization. You're a referral based organization. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, you can't complain if it doesn't work if you're not properly structured internally. It's not necessarily, the marketer. It might be the agency that's just not ready yet to take on that type of cold traffic business. And there's, it is what it is. Some people are not there yet, and some people are. All agencies are different, but you definitely have to make sure that you're properly structured before you spend money on it.
Well, I think you're so right. And you've talked before about building trust. It's the internet. So it's like you have to slowly gain trust. And I think the best way is on the phone. You're a real person. Yep. And I believe you have to strike while the iron is hot. That's always
100%
the case in this business.
100%. That's when they feel their pain. They want a solution right away. It's like, It's just,
It could be that if you don't get to them that day and it's the next day, they might be done shopping, period. Like they've
yep.
moved on. It's
And
so
then the
finished.
people, people will say, oh, they're not good leads. And it's like, it's not necessarily that we're a bad lead. It's just like, they took the first person that called them back. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
it's just, that's how business is. I mean,
Solve their
it's
problem. You solve my
solve their,
problem. Good enough. I'm moving on. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're so right. And to that point of, setting up this other automation. Yeah. I believe I agree with you. The best way is by phone to establish a rapport. Oh, this guy's all right. He seems to know what he's talking about. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And then sometimes they don't want to talk to you, right? They filled something
Sure.
online. So they might respond to you. You might get them by text. You might get them by email. It's kind of you try to have to figure out where do they want to communicate?
Yeah.
Where do they meet them where they're at?
100%.
Yeah, it's all of it, in my opinion. So,
Yeah.
And one thing I'll add on so if there's anybody that's listening to this and maybe been considering some help with their ads, I would recommend Chris and his team, Anthony. But you have to understand, this is with any advertising, it does take time.
Takes time.
Forget it. Everybody says it's going to take 6 months, period. Minimum.
Yep.
For me, it took a year.
Yep.
To be honest, it took almost past a year before I started seeing regular flow leads.
Yeah, it depends on the market you're into.
Yep.
Some markets are not as competitive. Some are very competitive. There's so many variables that go into it. We've had agencies where, 3 days after the campaigns go live, they're hitting us up saying they got leads. It's just, it's going to be different for every agency. And that's kind of why, like, if you're an agency and you're like, let me go talk to Brad, or like, hey, how did it work out for you? It's like, you can't even ask another agency because they're in a totally different market. You can't compare yourself. Obviously it's natural to know, you want to know how it went for someone else, but it's like, that doesn't mean anything for where you're at. You might get results much quicker or maybe slower. There's so many variables, the budget, the location where the ads are being run, whether or not, you have a retargeting campaign set up to minimize the cost per click. Like, there's all kinds of like granular variables that go into it. It's like one of the reasons why, we do it as a service, because it's like a full-time job. It's very difficult for the average person to do it all correctly. So
yeah. I got you past your time here. So so we're gonna go ahead and close this thing out. I did want to say publicly, I said this to you before, that kudos to you for one of the things that you offer from the very beginning is white glove service. And man, you deliver. The people, everybody that I've always worked with, Stephanie, Patrick, I mean, they are on it and make change, communicate. I mean, they've just been great people to work with. Not everybody that we come in contact with in this space delivers what they offer. So kudos to you for building a team and communicating it. So yeah.
Thank you, man.
And you have I think you have a loyal following. I mean, people love, Chris and AE. So, all right, man. Hey, I want to thank you for your time. And I hope people got a lot of value out of this episode. I think they will. If people want to get in touch with you for website service, for a local traffic marketing, what's the best way to reach out to Chris?
Yeah. So advisorevolved.com. Check us out. You can schedule a demo. You can look around the site. We actually just redesigned our site. That's the best place to find us. And you schedule a demo. There's some demo videos and whatnot we can send you as well. But yeah, pretty simple process. We're never salesy. Like I said, in fact, we turn down some people more so now than we used to. But definitely worth a call though, just to see if we're a good fit. And we'd be happy to talk through it with you.
All right, man. All right. Thanks again for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Everyone else, thank you for listening to another episode of the Agents to Owners podcast. We'll see you next week.